Martin Williams, I'm a cyber superstar. Or, alternatively, I'm a lawyer and partner. I'm the head of employment with Mayo Wynne Baxter.
How can young people best prepare themselves for work?
Work in a general sense?
General sense.
First of all, I have a big bone of contention with the word qualifications. Okay? When people say that exams are qualifications, I don't think they are qualifications because they don't qualify you for anything. They're academic exams, and they have a purpose because they show that you can apply yourself to certain stringent criteria, and they show that you can work at something which possibly may not be your main interest. I think that's great from that point of view. When you're looking at hiring somebody, you want somebody who's got a reasonable amount of academic ability. That's a given. You want them to be technically efficient at the particular area that you want. I'm a lawyer, so I would expect somebody who I'm interviewing to know the law. You, as a client, when you're going to a lawyer, you'll want that person to know the law. The added value, the extra bit that you want, is that confidence, ability, confidence in the ability that you have to do the job, that personal approach, basically all, I think people like to call them soft skills, but they're all the things that enable you to get on with people and get on with the world of work. And I think those things are really important, and honing them is something that people should concentrate on. So you can be the best person at maths in the world, and great, fantastic. But if you can't actually then do something with it, apply it to the world of work, then you're not going to be much good as an employee. It might be okay for work in a back office and everything, you keep yourself to yourself, but most work involves interaction with people. And so the extra bit that I'm looking for when we hire people is that ability to get on with the task and do things. I think that's very important.
What information do you look for a young person's CV?
Interesting. I'll give you an example. When I was doing one round of recruiting, there was somebody who sent in their CV, and it was from an organisation that I knew. So I could very easily make some judgments on that organisation and say, they were with them, then they didn't carry on with them. It was after we have when you're qualifying to be a lawyer, you have a period where it's called a training contract, 2 years, where it's 2 years of in-house training, as it were, like that. And I saw that this person hadn't been retained, so they qualified as a lawyer, but they hadn't been retained by the firm they were with. And you could say, well, a firm like that, if they've not kept them, is this the sort of person that I would want? But there are all sorts of circumstances why people don't get offered jobs. After all, people are being made redundant all the time through no fault of their own. So you can't look at that. So I looked at the CV, I then looked at what they did after they had been let go from that training contract. They had a hell of a lot of different jobs. And you could look at that and say, well, just a minute, they can't keep a job. But then you looked at it again and you saw that it was short-term appointments. And what that person had done showed their initiative. They'd gone out and they'd sought every chance to get every opportunity they could to keep in work, but also to give themselves a wide range of experiences. Now, if you can see that in a CV, I think that's a benefit. Now, it might not necessarily, but it'll be in the world of work either, because some people won't have that opportunity. But there are certain things in a CV which will show initiative. They will show that somebody will not just stand still and wait for something to happen to them. Those are the sort of people that stand out. And then you get them in the interview, and then you can judge them, on how they present themselves. But that sort of thing in a CV gets somebody into the room in order to show their worth personally.
What kind of work experience would a person need to have the same job as you?
If I go, I wasn't always a lawyer. I used to run orchestras, which seems a very niche area of work. And I, for all sorts of reasons, decided that I wanted to change and become a lawyer. back then wasn't really much of an internet traffic thing, so you had to write off and call people and do that sort of thing, but it's basically the same process whether you're emailing or whatever. But I sought to try and gain as much experience as I could. So the sorts of things that I wrote, I knew someone who knew someone and said, look, can I just follow you around for a week? Somebody else, in fact, a lawyer who we'd used personally, I just wrote to them and said, hey, I was a client of yours, can I come in and follow you around? Things like that. And then wrote to the CPS, do all the prosecutions, Crown Prosecution Service, wrote to them and said, look, I'd like to come with you. And just create those opportunities, create things which build up that experience. So if you can do that, you get no prizes for not asking. But if you ask, you go around, you seek, put yourself about a bit. So, get an experience in something that you like to begin with, if you can, whether it's voluntary, it might be with a charity or something like that, that might be something to do. Even if it's not directly related to the career path that you want to pursue, give it, if it's got some sort of connection, and it doesn't look as though it's going to be a complete waste of time, pursue it if it's a connection that you can get. But the more things that you can get to do, the more opportunities that will give you later. And try and create those things. Sitting back is not really an option. It's imagine having to go about and getting those experiences, building them up. Think of the skill levels also. So, I talked about getting on with other people. If you feel as though you're someone who's not that comfortable with working with the public or something, you feel as though, I'm a bit shy, well, actually, test yourself and put yourself in a situation where you have to interact. Yeah, really push yourself and think of the things. Okay, what skills do I need to concentrate on? So, if it is that you don't get on with, you find it difficult, go yourself to a shop where you're going to have a lot of interaction. I mean, you might not get the same if you're on the till at Tesco or something like that, because it's a limited amount to interact with people. But in a smaller shop, maybe a charity shop, where you actually have to deal with people directly, that will help you get over those particular sort of inexperiences or sort of problems that you think that you may have